Welcome to the enLIGHTenUP podcast. I am your host, Nicole Frolick, and I invite you to cozy up with me each week as I explore all aspects of the spiritual journey, spiritual biohacking, and expanding the mind beyond this reality. Remember that the collective awakening can start by planting one seed, so thanks for being such an amazing audience and sharing these shows with your family and friends. So without further ado, let's jump right into the episode and find out what we're discovering today. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the enLIGHTenUP podcast. I am so happy to have you back here. We have our returning fabulous guest, Consuelo Cassotti, and she's going to be discussing today a lot about the soul group contracts. We're going to get into why we do this, what's the purpose, what is organized through these soul groups, what are the clearings. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of different stuff. We're going to also get into cosmic incarnations and soul star groups, all that kind of stuff. So Consuelo, I mean, it's been such a long time. Welcome back to the show.
Hi, dear. Hi, everybody. How you doing?
It's so good to have you back. I know that quite a few people from the audience have booked sessions with you, and I want to give a shout out to the audience because you've been really, I guess, impressed with the level of awakening, I think, within the people that have been booking sessions with you.
Good. Yes, they are wonderful people, by the way. I noticed that most of your followers are really ready to wake up and to empower themselves. So it's beautiful.
Yeah, and that's so amazing to hear. I feel so honored to have such an incredible audience that is so committed to their healing journey and their own awakening, because it takes a lot of dedication and it takes persistence to keep pushing through some of the darker periods.
I agree. Totally agree. Yes.
Yeah. So let's get straight into it because we got lots to talk about tonight.
So, yes, I would love to start. First of all, I want to remember everybody, and probably I will say stuff that you already heard from other people. This planet Earth as a 3D is a graduation school where most of us, we're going to graduate it. So, in fact, if you think about it, a lot of people have a feeling that maybe could be the last lifetime here, or we have kind of finished all the karma because it's what's happening a lot of us. We are feeling like, okay, done, deal, ditto, like now in time for the ascension. And it's what's happening for a lot of these people is because we are doing it. It's the time for us to finally figuring out what we need to finish, and we're finished. So it's a graduation time. And this is important to recognize, okay? And because of this, I noticed that some people, they put so much in the plate, like, okay. And I tell people, you kind of overestimate yourself a little, like, okay, I can do this, I can do this, I can do it. Like, and the heaviness of how much karma or project you have in your hands sometimes can be a little overwhelmed. So it's the reason why, yeah, we're going to talk about this too, okay? So what is important is that we realize that in this planet, we have a free will. And it's the reason why more than 7 billion people came here, 7 souls came here, because they want to experience every rage, kind of from black to white, so many, and because there are so many religions, so many emotions, so many ways to live. But compared to other planets where, they are just one type, they're Turian, are very warrior, very strong, and they right to the point, they have just one type of vision. And it's fine for them because it's part of the harmony, the unity. But for soul, they want to experience more, they're coming here. So is where we start to create some contract and where we start to create some kind of situation. Sometimes we ask ourselves, what is going on with me? What's wrong with me? Right?
Yeah. It's kind of like, I think about what you were just describing about why people come to Earth is that whole, like, that Skittles, you remember, like, back in the 90s, like, taste the rainbow? Like, I feel like that's kind of what we're doing.
Yes. So the good is, okay, 2 information. One is we are lacking of unity. The idea of, when you decide to come to the 3D, you accept the idea they're going to leave the other group and we're coming here alone because we are lacking a connection, and the connection with the source, because it's what we want to experience. So all of us, we feel like we're missing home because we're feeling this way, like, okay, something's wrong. I feel so isolated. Doesn't matter where I am. So a lot of us, as a star seed, we choose to move here and to experience this lack of unity. Okay, so because it's part of the experience. So it's important to recognize this. So you're not the only one missing this. I have people tell me they cry at night because they feel that they're not home anymore. And what is very interesting when I do some hypnosis, also through my session, but with hypnosis more interesting because come from the client, when they are out of the body at the last day of their lifetime that we saw, there are other souls outside waiting for them. So there is kind of station, and some people see like a bar, waiting on the table and for the other come. Some people are a ball of light. So everybody have different experience. So it's funny to see how everybody have different perception. But the information is the same. They're waiting for the other people to arrive and be ready together. So what I noticed that a soul doesn't come alone, never. Some of the other soul group are coming here and incarnate with us, and they're going to help us to grow and to achieve our goals and going to do something. But there is a hierarchy of our soul that they stay not in the body, because it's not necessary for all of us to be incarnate at the same time. So the good is when we are finished our experience, we come back and we share this experience with the group. And probably during the time we were here, this soul group, they connect with us at night when we sleep or during our meditation, and they help us. I don't know if you remember when we did a session that you have some group coming to you and telling you that you are one of them. You are part of a group. You remember? I don't know if you remember some of it, but it was pretty incredible, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, and could be Native American, could be from other planets, but they want to connect to you and tell you how good you are and remember your power and remember that you're not alone. So it's part of the goal to support you, but they're not in the physical body. Make sense?
Yeah, can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
Because this has come up in some of my connections with the Pleiadians, is that they've told me that they can feel my pain and sometimes to give it to them. Do our soul groups help us by absorbing some of the emotions? Like, are they able to do that, or how does that work?
I'm sure they can do it. You're right. So I believe I have one spirit, one soul group. That they were the muse from this person. So everybody had some kind of goals or jobs, or maybe specialization. So I believe that we have many of them. So we have a different beings for different group, and they connect to our group. So it's okay. It's not just one per se, but there are many. And so all of them, they carry us, they support us. So the plan is because they are healers, they probably offer you to help you with the pain because they are kind of empathic. They can feel your pain, so they can help you. The Arcturians, they can maybe help you to be stronger and to have the courage and to go straight to your goal and remember who you are. The Athor maybe going to help you to understand more of the philosophy and have this kind of connection with the grace and compassion. So all of them, they have certain goals and way to support you. And so what makes the difference sometimes is if you have spent a lifetime with them, you have more connection with them because you have inside of you some memory and you use some of the skills. So they resonate more with you, is what I noticed with certain people. So it's the reason why not all of them are our group soul. They are part, but not all of them, okay? It depends what kind of experience you're doing, where you're coming from in certain way, your origin. So we talk about vibration. So if you vibrate, because inside of you carry some vibration, we connect with the Arcturian or we connect with the Pleiadians, of course, you're going to attract them more. Makes sense? So
Yeah, that does. And how does it relate to the people here on Earth? Like, do we also have soul group contracts with people Like I'm assuming because I mean, even just from my YouTube channel, I feel like there's quite a few of us in the same soul group. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure you feel the same way with some of your clients. Can you touch a little bit on that?
Yes, of course, we choose our family. We know this because we master all our plans. So we decide when we are not in the body, we are on the other side. We work together and we plan everything we want. We choose a family, we choose what we want to learn, and the others help us to figure it out how to do the best. And sometimes they are talk to us because we don't want to come back. Tell you the truth, I have a lot of people when they are on the other side start to cry, say, "I don't want to come back. I love to stay here. I don't want to come back." So they say this to me under hypnosis. They cry. So they have some other soul tell them, "It's okay. You need to finish this. You need to learn this, or you need to figure out this part because it's part of the lesson." And so they finally decide. But I have a few clients that they didn't want to go back. They are crying, and I waited minutes and minutes. Say, "Are you ready? No. Are you ready? No." So we wait and we wait, and I start to talk to the person, say, "This is important." So there is this part. So we always have a support from
Yeah.
the other side and also incarnate. So we choose the parents, we choose some neighbor, we choose the teachers, we choose the leaders that we need to follow, and they're gonna maybe inspire us. We choose the country. So there is a lot of stuff that we connect together, and all of this we don't do just by ourselves. We have support. And sometimes, because of the law, they are not doing the best that we think is right for us, but we do what is important for us to learn. Okay, so it's not always, and we also repeat the same lesson if you didn't understand. So I make an example. You are a soul that always have abusive situation, and you have another lifetime, and this lifetime again you have abusive parents, you have abusive boyfriend, you have abusive girlfriend, or whatever. You have always something abusive, a boss, and you have to say, "I'm so unlucky." No, it's probably because you need to learn how to say enough. Is about saying no and start to think about you are important. You are too important and you need to be confident. It's about taking out of this loop that you created. And until you didn't learn how to stand up and say enough of this, you're going to attract the situation again and again and again. Make sense?
Yeah.
A lot of time we
Yeah.
do this. And so these people are in certain way helping us to come out of this and finally say, "I'm too important. You cannot do this to me."
So in a way, we contract in people to trigger the crap out of us so that we eventually throw our hands up and say, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yes. And
Absolutely.
truly, there are certain people they are so stubborn and they are so strong, they really need to have the butt on the floor.
Yeah,
Finally,
that's me. That used to be, I should say that used to be me. That was me.
okay. But it's okay. It's how we learn sometimes. And we do faster, maybe, because we need to do this. And when we finally learn, we learn fast. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's happened.
That's the funny thing about it is that you could delay the process so long, but
Hmm.
when it finally gets to the end, it can be such a speedy process because you really just can't do it anymore.
Exactly. Have you
Yeah.
noticed? It's amazing because you become conscious. So it looks like every part of you know that something is very wrong. But until you don't accept this part, when you finally say, "Okay, enough of this, I don't want anymore," it shifts completely the energy around you. And have you noticed? It's amazing how much this happens. And it's so fast, right? So,
It's one of those things too because your frequency, you're raising your frequency, you're shifting your vibration, everything just starts to happen faster. And of course, when you're in divine alignment with your truth and not fighting it anymore, yeah, things are just going to line up a lot faster for you.
yes. And because I'm soul, want to do the hard job. I say people don't use the hard job. I say, I want to do something more. Okay. There is no hard job. If you want to, you can achieve the same, but say in a soft way, in a nice way, in a fun way. Okay.
You know what I learned is because I used to be someone who put so much on my plate, and I still do to some degree here and there, but it's much better than I used to be. And I would just want to like make it as difficult as possible. And I realized that it was me not loving myself, me not having compassion for my own journey, and needing to be a little more gentle as opposed to so masculine. And that was something that I learned. And so Once you learn it within yourself, you can recognize it in others really quickly.
Of course. And by the way, have you noticed how many times you attract people with same situation? Have you noticed? It's amazing. I saw people they are going through divorce and they're attracting people with the same problem, or people having some children. And, it's like we magnetize these people because we need to see the same situation from different perspectives. So we can learn more from others' perspective and understand more how to deal, how to do it. So it's amazing sometimes how much we attract all of this. And it's pretty interesting. So talking about soul, they want to do a very good job, let me say in this way. Okay. They want to do everything's possible as soon as possible. There are some soul that they do karmic galactic connection. So what they do is it's like they choose to, they are the star seeds, like you said. And so they choose to be in other planets, do some new experience, another planet, come back here, go back and forth, back and forth. And it's not every soul they do this. Some soul they want to do this. So they travel multidimensional back and forth because it's easier for them to do it. And so they can achieve more information and do more experience, and they can share more with a soul group. So
Okay, real quickly, because this question's kind of coming up here. When you talk
yeah,
about that, the first thing that I think about is a lot of people believe that you get stuck in some sort of karmic loop here, that you can't leave your lifetime here on Earth until you complete something. Is it possible that you are here by choice and that you could leave and do another lifetime and then come back? Like, what's that all about?
okay, it's my feeling. You remember, this is what I feel and what I experience. Okay, by the way, it's not a new philosophy. What I'm saying is, I have a feeling that now, this time, everything we say could be probably right for many souls, but now in this time, it's finally time for the ascension. So a lot of us, we are finished our karma, so there is no reason to be stuck here anymore. So, if we are careful, don't create more karma, and we really go, and we are very spiritual. We do our best to create a harmony in our life and to be the example for other people to be our best. I think that we can really live because there is a grace. Remember, there is always a grace state,
Okay.
in our dimension. We're going to allow you to move forward when you feel that you are ready. As if you're not ready 100%, but the fact that you feel, that you have done mostly of a job and you learn a lot, it will help you to move.
Okay. And I would think that there could be some sort of clause in your contract, that allows you to take a vacation, so to speak, from Earth, go live another lifetime on another planet with the intention and the contract to come back in another lifetime.
I'm pretty sure. And telling you, some of us, we choose don't be completely fully human until certain time. So I think we made some contract and we choose how to be here and in kind of, version to be here, hybrid or full human. And truly, there are many things. To make another example about contract, and, just a few weeks ago, I did a session with somebody under hypnosis, and she had this device inside of her, she found out, and it was put inside of her, and she said yes. So as a free will, she said yes, she allowed to do it. So I believe this was another way of contract with these beings. They want to monitor the planet, want to learn more about humans through her. And so, but I can tell you, she was part of them. So she chose to be human. So she made this contract. I'm going to be human and I'm going to help you with my device. It was an energetic device, of course, to understand more what is going on and study with humans and study with people through me. So when she recognized this, she was happy because she finally realized everything that were coming to her. So it was pretty nice to see that the contract we do most of the time, we are part of. Don't think that somebody wants us to, punish us. We choose to be punished. We choose to be without power sometimes. Okay, so we make a lot of contracts. Yes, why you're laughing?
Just because when you say the word punish, it just makes me think, well, is that just life on Earth? Like, I don't know.
I
Like,
know.
it's one of those things. I mean, there's so many beautiful things that come out of it. And don't get me wrong, but at the same time, the journey is very humbling at times.
Yes. Yes, but when you start to look at us as we are part of everything, you're going to start to understand how much, and you know this, you can feel it. So there are days where you can feel that you're part of everything. It's just because we don't remember doesn't mean that we are not. Okay. So when you start to feel this, you start to forgive yourself. You start to give yourself the permission to be empowered again, because you know that you're going to use it in the right way, because you're not afraid of your power. And I think that this is one of the primary reasons why a lot of people sabotaging themselves, and they choose to sabotage themselves in this lifetime through parents, family, a career, situation, because they don't believe that they can do it again. They are afraid of their power. So they,
Oh, are you saying that like if you were to kind of work through it, you may choose to go through it again because you're afraid that you may not be able to do it again? Like you almost want to prove it to yourself you can do it again? Is that what you're saying?
no, what I'm saying is sometimes you are so afraid of your power, maybe using the other lifetime, and maybe something happened, maybe it was not intentionally. So when you are back here, you are so afraid to use your power that you create a situation where you're going to not use your powers.
Oh, okay. I see what you're
Or
saying.
yeah, or a lot of witches, but they're no witches. 100,000 witches were burned at the time because it was hysteria. Was not right, but they believe it. If you use just a herb, to help somebody, they burn you. So at the time, so a lot of these people, the soul, learn to be afraid of their power because they were burned, they were killed, they were tortured. So many times we have different situations, we created or somebody else created. So we take away the power. So tonight I want to talk about contract, because when we make a contract, or we can create a vow, you become a nun, you become a priest, or part of a secta, for religion purpose or for political purpose. So you made a contract with, I'm not allowed to do this, I'm not allowed to speak, because it may be, if I'm a woman, I need to work, okay, back on my husband, I cannot speak up if a man talk to me. So for any reason, I cannot, or poverty, chastity. So for many reasons, and believe religion is one of the mostly part where we create this contract as a soul. So we are afraid to do again, because we have this contract. It's like a writing with the soul. I don't know how to explain. So I feel like sometimes we need to clear this, because it's part of us. There is a post that say you're not allowed. So look how many people, they are spiritual, they are healers, they believe that they cannot be paid. Isn't amazing?
Oh, that is probably one of the biggest things
Yes,
in the healing and spiritual community is just not being able to ask for payment of what
yeah,
you're worth. Like there's such a poverty mentality in the
exactly. But
healing
because
community.
most of these people, when they came in the planet Earth, the only way to be spiritual was to be a priestess, a priest, a nun. So what kind
Oh,
of,
so are you saying like so for instance when we think about like the monasteries or like the with the monks and everything and like that because we saw that as just like you're not supposed to have money, you're not supposed
Mhm,
to take it's
mhm,
donation
mhm.
only that is feeding into our community today as
Yeah.
something we've got to clear?
Yes, exactly. Is the reason why I started to do with a lot of time with creating contract and bowel, because a lot of people, you have no idea. I would say 90% of the healer, the people who are involved in healing or they want to do something for humanity, they were nun or priest or some leader, spiritual leader in our lifetime or part of a secta. So they still have this idea, mentality of spirituality means no food or poverty, chastity. I cannot be happy. I need to torture myself. I need to do stuff to me because this is not a heaven. So they still have this. And sometimes they are born in the same family here, but they brainwash them because so Christian or so whatever, they or a secta group, like so they start to reinforce again this belief. So it's hard for them, but it's part of the lesson that you need to finally decide enough. This is not what it means. I have my self-esteem, my time is pressure, I'm important, I can do a healing, I can do something, but I'm okay to be paid because my time is important too. You see?
Yeah, I never thought about that before. That's so interesting and it makes so much sense. Like it's like obviously, it's almost like how could I not see that before? But that makes so much sense. So it really is about clearing it because I mean, we all know how much manipulation there has been. Religion has been one of the most manipulated parts of the planet, and of course money then too. But so it kind of makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
And it
So,
keeps us shut down too in our root and sacral chakra.
hmm, yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt, no doubt about sexuality, no doubt about, power, self-esteem. Imagine to be a nun and to be humble, and to be in certain ways. So, it's really take away a lot of power. And so, and you think the same because again, the society, they kind of reflect this to you. Okay. If you notice, a lot of people think, oh, if you do something for your spiritual, you must go for free. So people believe in this sometimes. I have people tell me this, and I'm thinking, no, my time is important. And my answer is, okay, do you pay a doctor? Do you pay a priest for the wedding? So means, this is my way. Say, okay, my time is important too, you know. So, but it takes a while also to myself to finally say this because again, a lot of people they do for free. They're natural healer.
Yeah, and I think, I just let's touch on this really quickly because I think this is important. For us to understand that to shift into more of like a 5D Earth, a new Earth, where the systems are valuing the kind of healing that many of us are offering, that you and the audience I know are doing, that in order for the world to value that, it starts with us. We have to value that. And unfortunately, we work with a money system, but we can transmute that. We can use the money to use it for good and to start changing the frequencies and the vibration of how it's being used. And that is just, I think, one of the hurdles, like you were saying, that we have to be able to overcome to show the world the value of what we're offering. And if
Yes.
we're not willing to accept the money, how can we expect anyone to want to pay it?
Also, because I'm sorry, it's not about big reading, okay? It's different. It's not about big reading, not at all. It's about recognize that you are important and what you do is important. I'm a beginner. I give my session for free sometimes. And the funny part, most of the people that give it for free, they forgot my appointment. They didn't show up, or it was amazing. So it's happened to you
It
too?
happens I'm telling all, okay, so I just had this conversation in my alchemy group, I think a few days ago with someone who's trying to figure out their charging services. And I'm like, you charge immediately what you're worth. Do not undercharge because I hate to say it, but it's been proven to you. It's been proven to me through my own experience. And it's just that people who aren't willing to invest in themselves don't value your time either because they don't value themselves. And that's not saying that they're bad people. It's just their lessons that they need to go through. So if you want to make sure that you're working with people who respect your time, respect your work, will actually integrate the work that you're offering, because that's also another problem, is that if you charge less money than what you're actually worth, you're going to attract people who don't really take your value that seriously. Like that, so they're going to be like, well, I only paid this much for it. It's probably not that important. And I'm not saying they're thinking that consciously. That's a very unconscious
Yes, I
program
know.
that
Because with
runs.
society, and again, the society create this idea that if something is worth it, it to be cost more. Instead of listen who is offering it to you, and listen the energy from the person. So they go by, oh, it's more expensive, so it has to be good. So it's okay, they learn a lesson too. And it's fine. But again, it's between, it's very between. So certain people are very good and they're very expensive. Certain people are good and not so expensive. So, but it's a balance. So the important part is recognize what you needed and honoring what you do and ask other people to honor. So, but come for you first. You're going to must be the first person. So is the reason why I'm releasing the contract and the vowel for people, because I start to see how many of my clients were priests, nun, or part of some kind of seta, and so they really,
I
oh
was a nun. You told me in Australia in the 800s.
yes, or somebody is Muslim, but kind of Muslim, but you cannot speak up as a woman. So yeah, as a nun, I don't remember. You're a nun, right? Yes.
Yeah, I was a nun and I traveled, I think from like England. And I remember when you told me what you were seeing is when I got to Australia, I couldn't believe all the colors and how beautiful it was and all the different animals. And I died early in that lifetime. I got a disease, but that's because the living conditions were very unsanitary. But yeah, no, it was just believing in God and knowing that there was that relationship with God. I was a nun.
Yeah, yeah, I remember now. One other thing that just because you say so, and it comes to me, um, one of the things that we have as a healer, as a people that are very empathic with other, we don't ask for us because we believe that other people are more important. So one time I was in Chicago, I just moved in Chicago years ago, and I say, okay, I'm sorry, I don't want to ask for my parking spot because think about a child in Africa who's dying. I feel so sorry. And I heard my spirit say, are you sure about what you're saying? So I say, yes. I say, okay, so if we don't give you a parking spot, the child in Africa is going to have a food in which way? Like, how is going to happen? So, and they told me, you have his lesson, you have your lesson. If a parking spot is important for you, ask and say thank you and recognize that this is important for you. And of course, if you can help a child in Africa in every way, welcome. But sacrifice your desire to have something for you that help you to maybe arrive to the right appointment, to do certain thing, doesn't not going to help a child in Africa. So we have this mix of information because if we do something for us, it seems like, oh my gosh, it's too much. I cannot have it because there are people that need more. I'm thinking, okay, but if you are more refreshed, you are recharged, you're feeling better, you can help other more. So it's about taking care of us that is very important. And as a nun, as a priest, other religious people, we didn't do it. We always put God or anybody else first, and we mortify ourselves. We punish our body. We punish everything. Remember, it was kind of crazy. Some people were really crazy about how to literally punish yourself. So
Yeah, no. And so, okay, so this idea of punishment or sabotage in this lifetime uh, is when we go to clear that energetically, how do you must have had experience with clients where you've been able to clear that with them through a session, and how does that shift their life?
I noticed that people start to have more self-esteem and they feel lighter. I have people tell me that they stop to blame themselves in their mind sometimes, because sometimes they say bad stuff to themselves every time they do something. So it's interesting to see how much this change in have effect in people because, and I believe also when they become more conscious, because remember, one of the part of the be healed is to become more conscious. When you finally realize what is going on in certain way, it's just a first step to be healed. So when you become conscious of it, oh, I made this, oh, I created this. So you become more conscious and you start to release this. And you start to understand that this is not working anymore for you because guess what? It's another lifetime. So you don't need to go through this again. So I think it's very important when I do with people and I explain to people what it's about. And so I notice that they feel lighter, they feel better after. I don't know if there's any people in the chat where you can maybe share this stuff, but
Yeah, okay, yeah, you know what? That's a great thing. Anyone who's in the chat right now who's had a session with Consuelo and noticed any shifts shortly after your session, can you drop those in the live chat for me? Because, like I noticed because what we're saying, just let's make this very clear. We're not saying that, you're doing everyone else's work for them. Like there are
no,
certain things that you can help with to help clear and assist. Like we all are allowed to receive help in some way.
yes,
This is one of those ways. It doesn't mean that it overrides all of your lessons to be learned, but it's like a helping hand to give you a boost. And it's unnecessary, right? It's unnecessary stuff to hold on to. So,
exactly. Yeah, I ask for the highest good. So the highest good of the person. No, I'm not going to clear any contract unless it's for the highest good of the person in this moment. So let me be sure. So I'm not going to push anything because if you need a lesson and you need to have this contract, like with a, this person with a device, she has this device inside of her, and they change it because she needed to change it with other vibration. And she was happy. So I never cleared this from her because I know it was part of her contract. And also when I did the Lord of Time with her, I knew that she will not have a problem anymore because it's not for, it's she need to go through this. So she's part, and she say yes, and she choose it. And so she is fine. So I'm going to clear only what doesn't serve you anymore because it's not important for you anymore. And what is interesting, when I counted the Lord of Time, I don't know how, but it does in a very fast way. I see little window, like a window, the condominium kind of window when you look in this building, and so every window have a little star. Little life. So every window have a light inside, and I see different life. So every life have a contract. So sometimes I see 30, 40, 50, 100, and I'm thinking, okay, a lot. So most of the time I notice that are around 30 and 45. So this is the number that I see around. So sometimes I'm able to pick up one in particular and describe to my clients, okay, not tonight because it would be too much, but unless I see something that I can maybe say it generically. But what is funny is interesting because it showed me this, it's looking like a little window all of his lifetime. And it's so interesting the way that it showed to me. Of course, this is how I interpret it. But so it's so fast, like tan, 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 like. And remember, everything's happening right now. So the higher self is like imagine that we are a pie, okay? So with many slices, 100 slices, and the higher self is the center. So we are in the center of this pie, and the higher self collect all the information for every lifetime we do. So the higher self knows everything. So, and when we die, we don't leave anything information around. It's coming to the higher self. So it collects everything. Can be galactic, multidimensional. So everything's happening right now. And it's the only one able to connect to all of its part. So there is one higher self is multidimensional, but it collects all the information together. So every time we clear, like I do tonight, so I clear many contracts or vowels or curse from people, it's going to affect not one slice, but many slices, because it's not just one that's going to move together. So I'm going to create this reaction that's going to help the person to clear more, because the higher self remembers. So also if a person now, you don't remember what I'm going to ask to clear, it's okay. But your higher self knows. So the fact that it's here today with us, and listen my words in my language of light is going to affect. Doesn't matter if you are completely conscious about what is going on. Makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying?
Yeah. It does. And Mitch in the live chat, she had a session with you, and she says, I felt so much lighter and was able to heal and understand why I felt a certain way when separating from my ex-husband. That's beautiful. And I, from my own experience with you, I've had 2 sessions with you. I'm gonna have a 3rd one soon too. I remember that, there were certain things that cleared physically for me that had been becoming chronic, and it was digestion and low back pain that was cleared instantly, and I haven't had issues since.
Oh, nice.
So that was something that was really nice. And I'm curious. We talked about the healing community and this kind of this contract that we're trying to work through about like being able to receive money for our services or just our value, asking for our value. Is there another kind of contract that's kind of more collective that you've also been noticing that we're working to clear that would really resonate with the audience right now?
I saw that we do also like a group contract. So as a group, we create something that sometimes it can be very good because we have part of a big project. So sometimes we choose like when there is a hurricane and a group of souls are living together. This is part of a contract, talking about group contract. So they choose to arrive in the same bus, the same city, the same moment, the same boat, and dine together because it's part of a soul contract. So there are different kind of contract. And sometimes can be very positive because maybe as a group, they create a new idea, a revolution, a new situation in some country, like the French Revolution, for example, or here, the American Revolution. So there are certain groups that they choose to be here, and because they have a contract, to shift completely the mentality or give a, put some seeds that are going to affect the planet forever. And so this is the problem. When we do this, it's going to affect galactically all the, not just the planet Earth, it's going to affect every other planet. So it's the reason why I will not see just in this way, but also as a multidimensional contract, because everything shifting here is going to also affect every other planet around us. So the galaxy is going to be involved. So it's the reason why it can be forever. So it kind of group contract, but it can be really to other level, multidimensional, involves so many. And so it's, yes, I don't know if I answered you.
Yeah, no, you did. And I want to say Mitch also said her back pain went away too. And Robin is saying she had a few sessions with you, Consuelo. She always feels happier and empowered after a session. She also liked the light language, and even though she has no idea what it means. Sorry, just went away from me here. She's looking forward to her QHHT session with you. Awesome.
Okay, good.
And I know Tyler's got his session with you this week, which is great. Tyler's a good friend of mine. And so it's interesting because sometimes I think it's, having my last session with you helped me really understand why I chose to be born in Canada, because I'm really questioning that right now, like why did I choose this country given everything that's kind of going on? But, understanding the contract that you described to me and what I'm doing every time I'm here and the energetic work that's taking place really helped me to understand things, put things into perspective. And I didn't think of it that way. And can you, this is kind of interesting because this came up. The DNA that we choose to be born into certain countries, can you kind of talk a little bit about that, why we choose certain countries and the DNA and how it helps us?
Yes, not only the DNA from our country, but sometimes we choose to have a biological father or biological mother and other parents as parents that are going to help it to grow up. So it's amazing how much people we choose sometimes also randomly, it looks randomly, but it's not, a certain parents. Okay, first of all, remember, each country carry some kind of story, it's kind of history, so they learn stuff beside the tradition, but they also carry some kind of fear or some kind of open mind. So we choose this because they carry so much. And I noticed the center soul, they choose again and again the similar country. Some they choose to be Asian many lifetime or Indian, some other choose to be more European, some American. So it looks like it depends, but a lot of people have it looks like they prefer to be in certain country because carrying certain vibration. So I believe that each country carry a different vibration because they're born in different time with different people, with different, culture. And besides, I'm pretty sure that if you start to look at people, you understand also some are from different IT because we have too much difference between certain, type of people in the planet. But the only explanation is the same. Even in Adam, sorry, I'm having a time to figure it out. So, so what I'm saying is the DNA carry not always your family heritage, but also the place where you are born. And plus, you need to remember your family, your father, your mom, maybe they carry some ET DNA. So, and you want to be both of them. So it's kind of, so the DNA carries a certain vibration and help you to understand more. And so I make an example about me. My father died when I was 2 years old. Okay. And interesting, I love him deeply. And I was in love with my father. And I predicted, I knew that he will die because I have this dream. So 2 years old, I told my mom about that father will die. Something happened. And it happened after 2 days. So what is interesting, my father was speaking different language, was acting like a Jerry Lewis. He was doing the stuff. He was drinking Coca-Cola. He had a company about plastic stuff. So he was already preparing me to go to the United States. And I have no clue about it. So I can tell you in his DNA, and I never check about my father, but I believe that he was a cowboy from another past life because he was dressing like a gringo and play banjo. I'm not kidding, with his group of band in Italy. Okay. So imagine this was my father. And he stayed only until I was 2 years old. And I'm okay. It was part of my, my lesson. But what's interesting is I can tell you his DNA was very precious to me, was important for me because he had this heritage as a soul from United States. I can tell you have another lifetime in United States for sure, because he was so more American that I never met anybody like my father. He was really very democratic his way to talk, and it was amazing. So what I'm saying is, but he prepared me to move here. And until I was 39, I didn't know about it. Okay. So sometimes we don't know, but the DNA gives us more than we think. Give a possibility. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And for everyone in the audience, your contracts of where you choose to live aren't just about one thing. Like for instance, one of the things that came up in our session was the green being, the little green, darker green being that I saw just before our session. I found out that I needed Canadian DNA in order to be able to work with them in a certain way. And so that was part of my contract too, was so that later in life, when I guess I was able to contact them or connect with them, that this was going to be possible to hold a certain frequency that is coming from the country that I was born in, as part of the DNA. So it's very interesting. I'd never heard about it before, or thought about it in that way. So I think that's just so interesting.
Yes,
So
this allow you to make a bridge. So you need to make a bridge. So you
yeah,
have a bridge, as it was
yeah.
important. I know. It's kind of, and it blow you away when you start to vibration. So everybody have different DNA, different vibration for sure.
Yeah.
So yes, it's pretty good. Okay.
So should we bring
If
in Lord of Time to
Yes,
do
if
a
you like, I
closing?
think it's time. And it's gonna be very short, so people don't, just be free. And what I'm saying is, just allow yourself to be free, or everything doesn't serve you anymore for your highest good. This is the important part, okay? And so you're gonna feel something sometime, maybe you don't. It doesn't matter. It's gonna happen. Doesn't matter if you feel it or not, okay? So, all right, let me prepare myself. I'm gonna call Lord of Time right now. Akana ikasana kata ikanalake takat idalakatataka e. Sa anaka takata e. So I'm asking him to clear for any person who's listened today and also in the future listen this recording when it's gonna be recorded. So every person listen this right now, gonna be able to release for this person any contract, any vow, any curse that this person made or somebody made for her or with him, for him or against, or, in any reason. So the person, so that Lord of Time can release everything, doesn't serve a person for the person highest good. So it's time to dissolve, it's time to release, it's time for letting go. Everything doesn't serve you anymore for your highest good. It's time to be clear for any contract. So this present, past, future, multidimensional, doesn't matter where. Every part that in certain way are ready for letting go. Okay, every part of you we are ready for letting go of this because it doesn't serve you anymore for your highest good. This time, right now, we are doing it. Believe it. Hakana ika sa takatataka a sa anakatatika asheke anakatatatata. So the way that I see is working everybody in the spine and releasing for the nervous system, all of this node, all of this part, releasing. Akana ikanana kacha anakata a asa ataka itikanana sa anaka sa tita itakana a sa inika anatakatatata. Using some kind of golden light around everybody right now to clear everything that doesn't serve you anymore. Sa inakita itakatatata isekana ikananakata akatatatatatatata hanaka itakananakatatata ikase akatatika asakana asatatata isina itakatase na anananaka a is working every chakras right now, releasing also for electric body. So it's working in many, many places and working with all of you right now. Sa inike, sa teta I salanaka. Say time and space is very relative. So allow and believe it. Everything's happened right now because you are part of this. And so there is a reason why you're here tonight. Atanaika nanateka a. Sananake, 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 sananake. Sana a, sananaka. Antana a, sa ana a. Shakacha, shakacha, shakacha. Right? Still working a little, but I think the major job is done. Sanake, nananaka. Now it's connecting everybody to the source, so you can receive this incredible light of cleaning, and everything doesn't serve you anymore is released, it's completely depleted, it's completely canceled, delete, because it's time. It's time for you to grow. It's time to have your power back. It's time for you to be free, to be yourself, the true yourself, now and more. Takata a saka iti. Na nakatata, nakatatata, nakatatata. Saeke asana a. Right? So we say thank you, thank you, thank you for any help received today. We thank you, Lord, for the time. And remember, you can always call him. So don't be afraid of him. He's very tall, very big, but the service is very nice. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wow. I'm curious for anyone in the live chat if what you felt, because for me, my head just feels like it's expanding right now. My whole third eye, all the way around, it just feels like this energy pulse is just almost feels like my skull wants to all the bones and the like want to expand. It's crazy.
Yeah, because it probably touched many parts of you. So it's not just today, it's not just this lifetime. It's reason why it's very fast, but it's very strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good, good.
Ooh, that was great. Thank you very much
My
for
pleasure.
being in Lord of Time. And did you want me to see if anyone has any questions really
Yes, I
quickly?
will love, yes, because we have
So
a
if anyone in the audience has any questions that you'd like to ask, just please put the word question in cap locks and then whatever your question is. The question itself doesn't have to be in cap locks, just the word question. And Lucia is asking, who is Lord of Time?
good question. I didn't know until, okay, Lord of Time, you can, sometimes they call Father Time. I prefer Lord of Time because he's not my father, sorry. Like, okay, I don't feel like a father kind of relationship. So he came one time during my session because I was clearing this person because she was really in a very bad situation. She was crying. She was having like she felt that she was cursed. So she was having a hard time. And so he showed up and he told me, I can handle, I can help. So, and my way to see, I see this kind of big, very big kind of man, see like a male figure. I don't see him literally, I see more of the energy. And when he does, like I said, it showed me a possibility. So a Lord of Time to me is one of the beings that is connected to the time, and it can do without problem by the blink, because time is relative to him. Like I can do everything in blink of eye. So it's just the 3D that we don't think is possible. So, and it showed me that he was doing it. So it showed me how he can do fast. And when he said it's done, I thought like, okay, in 2 minutes it's done. I say yes, because to me there is no problem. So, and I realized that it was working very well. So I don't know, but I never ask him too much, but I know that as soon as I call him, it comes. So it's why I say, people, you can call him every time. And the true, I started to use it some time years ago when I need to go some place. I was in a hurry, I was late. So to bend the time for me, I was asking to bend the time. So maybe this is why I started to have this relationship, because I was asking my angels, okay, can we bend the time? I need to arrive before the time that the GPS say, please, without run. So, and I noticed sometimes it was changed maybe a few minutes or, 5-10 minutes. Sometimes, like, oh, thank you. So I think all of us, we are connected to this part. Because have you noticed sometimes that the time goes fast and other time it goes slow?
Oh, yeah.
It's because we are able to connect to this part that all of us we have.
Yeah. Wow, like, and that's so true. And so it sounds like he's my kind of guide. If he's like, let's get the job done now. That's totally my personality. It's like snap, snap, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a question here from Discog. How may one discover, understand, and activate one's gifts and abilities?
So she wants to know how she can do it, how she can activate her abilities. First of all, you need to start to believe in yourself. Sorry, but it's very basic, I know. When you start to believe in yourself, and don't be afraid to be the true yourself. So listen. I notice that more we listen, our intuition, if you like, higher self, more you listen and you open. And don't think, oh, it's too silly. Don't. Just whatever comes to you is fine. I saw people start to develop their gift when they start to do silly stuff, because you're going to be more connected with your inner child. The inner child gives you the power to remember your power. So this is a way to do. And if you believe us, so you can go to bed every night and say, I want, and make the list of a wish that you want as a power, And if you don't know yourself, because you don't know what kind of gift you have, so it's time for you to start to listen yourself. Makes sense.
It's very important. It's very important for you to tune in, to believe the believing in yourself, because you shut everything down as soon as you don't believe it. It's just an immediate shutdown. So just start believing it, have fun with it, make it a lighter experience as opposed to so serious, Sometimes we make it so adult-like, and the best thing to do is just to return to that childlike wonderment and just be like, let's just see what happens and go with it, and I'm not going to put any restrictions. And it can be hard because the ego wants to do that. But yeah, I agree with you. That's great advice. We have a question from Mitch, who's here in Ontario, Canada with me. What is the best way to stay out of fear when dealing with the jab situation in Ontario and in Canada?
Oh, it's more for you, this question. I believe it's more for you and for me. Okay. First of all, remember, we attract what we need to understand and learn. So start to tell yourself that you can be free of this, and you let go any fear, because more you have a fear, more you attract situation. And start to say to yourself, I'm harmony. I attract harmonic situation. I'm synchronicity. I'm attract synchronicity. I am free of this, whatever it is, I can go around, I'm going to be fine. So I can become invisible to them, visible to, if I need it, to be seen, because of course, we don't want you to be. But what I say, you can start to say positive affirmation and believe it more. And this is a way to tell yourself, I am fine. And start to bubble up yourself and, create a bubble around you, and start to, when you talk with people or you do something. So don't put the fear, like really tell yourself, I am fine, and letting go. And whatever happens, say, okay, you know what? I believe my higher self is going to take care of this, and I'm letting go, and I believe it's going to be fine, and I'm letting go because I know my higher self is going to give me what I needed to learn, and it's okay. Whatever happened, it's okay. Makes sense to you?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's so important, because just focus on the root and the sacral chakra, feeling grounded, feeling safe in your body. Build that trust relationship within your body, and do all the things that you need to feel safe. That's so important, because that's what this is. It's trying to attack that. And just really quickly, because there is another question here, but maybe we could just, I don't know if you want to share this with the audience. It's something that's kind of come up. Someone in my alchemy group has had this insight come in, that the people who are getting the jab are detaching as a soul from their body. And I think you've also
Yes.
heard this from multiple healers.
And again, I don't want to create any kind of division, because is what they want. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we want to be very nice and say, free will is important. So every soul come here for a reason. So this is part of experience too. Okay. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that they choose to do it, and it's fine. So some soul, I was talking to somebody that she has a Sufi teacher, SUFI teacher, she's very enlightened, very, very good. And she was telling me that her friends was doing session to this woman, but she always were full of energy. From the video, she can feel this energy. And when she did the session again to this woman, she noticed that this woman was very low as energy, and she asked her, "Are you fine?" So yes, I'm fine. So finally, after a couple of sessions and on video, she told her, "I have this," and so I receive it. So I choose to do it, and and so she realized that this was the reason why she was very down as energy. So what's happened? And also in Italy, there is a French lady, Angie Vaudin, she talked about the same, but it's like the soul disconnect, with the body when you receive this. And of course, I'm pretty sure that we can undo this. I'm pretty sure that we can. Okay. Let me figure it out because it's one of my wish, but I'm gonna help, and I'm sure that we can help these people if they want to be back together, because I think it's part of this experience. The important part is, I think, to start to believe in yourself. Because I noticed when I was working with people with COVID at the beginner, years, the first, I noticed that one of the things was the fear of these people. So I was sending the message that everything's fine, and I was happy to connect to the source. So when I did this, the situation changed completely. So it's about be connect to yourself. So if you have this stuff, it's happened to you, start to be more connected to you and say, I am connected to the source. I want to be connected to my soul. Everything's going to happen to me. It's going to be fine. So I release in everything. Ask your spirit guides and taking care of you or your higher self. So start to do the self-healing. I'm not kidding. So why not? We are powerful. Remember.
Yeah, and the reason why I wanted to mention this just because it helps to clarify Mitch's question too about how to, and anyone, right, anyone around this whole situation, is to know that if you want to just kind of protect yourself or help to create the reality where it doesn't really exist in your reality, like, because it doesn't have to, let's face it, it doesn't really have to. I mean, for the most part, it doesn't affect me in my life because I don't think I'm focusing on it that much. There will be little moments here and there, but I mean, I haven't perfected it, that's for sure. But the whole point of like what I'm trying to say is be in your body. Be in your body, because what this thing is doing is it's detaching the soul from the body. So the more that you stay in your body and the more you build that relationship and really keep a strong connection of soul and body together in harmony, that is the opposite of what is happening with it. So you're already working just in that way to build a reality that you need to protect yourself. So, okay, another great question here. Can Lord of Time help to detach from a twin soul or twin flame?
Okay, interesting. I don't know. Good question. I think it's different, but because it's about soul contract. So if you have a contract with this twin flame or twin soul, yes, it will do it. I believe it. So if everything else is about clearing some other things, I don't know. So if it's part of a contract, there is a contract. But remember, the twin flame rarely is incarnate at the same time we are here. So most of the time, the twin flame is like a brother or sister connection, soul brother, soul sister. And most of the time, they are not choose to be incarnated with us. So we switch, okay? We are in the body and they are and so they are out and we are in. So we switch because we integrate some. So yes, it could be if you feel that it's a contract, there's something that is linked you in a certain way where you don't feel right. Make sense?
Yeah, I agree. There's another really cool question here. Have you experienced this where you feel that, this is from Annie, is the COVID thing, is it a frequency update for people?
I'm not connected too much anymore because it's changing. So it's changing a lot. And I was connected to the first, but it was like a mechanic kind of fun. It was like a little robots. I feel like something like a robot. Something is the reason why. Okay, but we don't go to this today. But what I'm saying is, so yes, you can connect to the vibration. It doesn't like certain vibrations at the frequency, and I use, in fact, it didn't like this sound, and it's 417 hertz. I use this board, but it's 417 hertz, and it doesn't like it. It really doesn't like it. So I noticed that it's about transmute from negative to positive. It's about clearing the karma, by the way, 417. So, and in fact, I sent it to my clients, last year to play this in the house I play this board for 10 minutes and I say, okay, use it in your house everywhere, because I believe it works. So yes, you can find the right frequency, vibration, but doesn't like the BS stuff, and it's gonna rebalance. Make sense?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I've had so many multiple synchronicities come in the last 24 hours about sound healing and how important sound is right now. And we're kind of talking a little bit about in the alchemy this morning, and then I had more than last night. And then I've been really wanting to just listen to sound bathing, like really wanting to bathe myself in sound. And so I feel that there's a lot of untapped potential in the healing there for a lot of us that we will discover more and more as we go through.
Yeah, it's the future. Probably the vibration of the healing is the best way to work. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, I really appreciate you coming back on the show. This has been wonderful. Many people are asking about your paintings. So I don't know if they know that they can actually, those are your paintings,
Yeah, these are
correct?
my paintings, and yes, I do these paintings. Yes, so these are my paintings. This is Metatron, by the way. So flower life, so very different things. So yes,
So they can
so
purchase those from your website.
I'm not for now, but if you contact me, I can send some picture. We can figure it out. Because
Oh, okay. Okay,
I did
cool.
it years ago when I want to pay for my study, and I did it. So it's funny. And soon I say, okay, I can do the business, and I finish my school. No one. So I since like it was meant to be for me to to sell them as a business. But if somebody wanted, we can talk. Yeah, I'm fine.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, let the audience know where they can find you, what you're offering, what's going on, and
Okay, I have a website. Is I don't know if you put any link under your. Okay, so
yeah, yeah.
I have a website. You can find. Oh, one other thing that I forgot. Thank you. Is if you want to do something about forgiveness, because forgiveness is so important because it's gonna free you from yourself. Believe me, when you're gonna release yourself from other people connection, you're gonna free you. So it's an act of really it's an act of selfish kind of way. Forgive other people because you can be free from that connection. So I offer this in my website as a forgiveness process, and you can buy if you like for $30, and you can use for play for a week with you and your family, your friends, your partner, and it's very good because you don't share. But I notice a lot of people doing much better, sleeping better, having wonderful time. They're feeling lighter. So there is no religion involved. Besides, say call like I call God or Source maybe, but one time. So there is no religion involved. So if you are interested, welcome. If you want to know more, and I do my other session, karmic release, RTT, QHHC. I don't want to go through much, but and so if you want to know more about me, welcome to look at my website. You can contact me directly. I will do my best to answer as soon as possible. And again, remember everything is relative. So time is relative, and so is your reality is relative too. We are kind of a matrix, but more we picture the reality better and better and better, and we believe it, we're going to attract better and better because we are preparing ourselves to move for a fifth dimension. Probably we're already there. My friends say we're already there. So I kind of believe it. We are moving back and forth. And so start to adjust, okay, to this dimension. And more we believe in what we want and we want to attract what we needed when we desire, more you're going to figure out that we're already there. Because in the fifth dimension, everything will come to you exactly what you needed. So you don't need to put yourself in trouble because everything will be exactly what you needed.
Exactly. Exactly. And I highly suggest that you book a session with Consuelo if you're feeling called to. You will not be disappointed. Thank you, Wise Mama Bear, for dropping her website and her Instagram and all of that Facebook in there. All
Thank
those
you.
links are in the description below, everyone, if you need to reach out to Consuelo. And of course, those of you listening on iTunes or Spotify later on, it's all in the show notes. Consuelo, thank you so much.
My,
So just so you guys know, Consuelo and I have been chatting and we're thinking she's going to be coming back more often on the show. Maybe once every couple of months.
Very
So
nice.
I'll look forward to having her back on. And we'll be coming up with all these great topics of what is kind of relevant, not relevant, relevant for that time. So thank you so much for all of your support. I love you guys so much. Next week we'll be on with Mason Fury. He's been on the show a couple times. You guys love him. He brings in great divine masculine energy. He's so grounded, brings in so much healing with him. So I know you guys are going to love